Ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor to be on the Tonight Show.
This is the 4936 Spot Podcast.
And Faithful, stand up, baby.
Oh yeah, we right back at you live and direct. Off season has started. The year is over, and we are not holding that Lombardi. For those of you who don't know, live in LA. So when the Rams won, of course, I had to endure all of the fireworks and the people going crazy. The thing is, though, as many of you know, the Rams fans aren't too wild out here. I've been here for the Lakers winning the championship. I've been here for, although it was a bubble championship, I've been here for the Dodgers winning the championship. And I would definitely have to say that this Rams win was a significant third place in terms of how live it was. It really wasn't that live at all, but there was fireworks, all that good stuff. And the good guys are not on top. This is the 49365 podcast, the Tonight Show to be exact. My name is Bia Mechi. As always, I'm with JB.
What's poppin', B? What's poppin', Faithful? Yeah, another Super Bowl down. It was a cool Super Bowl, man.
I've heard mixed things. I actually was I wasn't really planning to watch the Super Bowl, to be completely honest. And as the game started, I was like, you know what, I got some things to do. I might as well just do it in the living room and bring the stuff that I need to do in there and just have it on. So I turned it on, and I actually was way more into the game than I thought I would be. It was a pretty good game to me, but I heard people were saying that, I don't know. I know the viewership, it was a most watched television show in the past 5 years. So I know the numbers were good, but I heard mixed things about the game. It seemed and just people complaining about the refs.
I mean, I feel like it's because it wasn't high scoring like that, and maybe people love the Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, them type of games, and maybe people were expecting Burrow to, I don't know, but it was a good game though. Like you said, it was. I mean, honestly, the Bengals, they hung in there. It really, I think the D line of the Rams just shut their offense down in the second, or I don't want to say the whole second half, but damn near it felt like at least the fourth quarter, it was like Bengals couldn't really do anything, and the Bengals defense was holding up against the Rams offense, and I mean, it's bro, at the end of the day, who made plays when it counted? They best players, Aaron Donald and Matt Stafford. When it counted, when they needed
Cooper
to score,
Kupp and Cooper Kupp.
No, I know, but I guess the quarterback was just bro. You know what Matt Stafford remind me of, and just follow my analogy here, because I know you probably gonna, when I say this, you're gonna be looking at me but Matt Stafford and guys like that remind me of like when you be watching ESPN and see a bowling competition, and you see this raw ass bowler, and it's damn, he don't look athletic or anything, but he's just so skillful, like an athletic bowler or like a dart thrower who is just damn, how you do that? You just
look pass,
huh?
The no look pass,
but it's just he just looks so he looks really skilled. He just is so skillful in terms of just throwing the ball, and it's just like a true, it's like a true skilled person. And I ain't talking about him Hall of Fame or none of that, but I'm just saying skilled quarterbacking. I have to bring it back to our squad. It's like damn, how do we compete with those type of, this dude is you got somebody at the quarterback position now that the Rams this guy he gonna make some plays in crunch time, like with his arm, and it's it's never perfect, but at least we know there's a good chance that he really is gonna make them plays with his arm in crunch time.
Yeah, I mean, you said a lot there in transitioning and talking about our team and being essentially, concerned with how are we going to counter. Those are long-term things. I think what the Rams showed you is that they went all in. There's a lot of things we can take away from the Rams, right? That's what I titled this show. What can we take away from the Rams win? You talked about some of the actual X and O coaching schematics of getting your best players to dominate the game in the moments of truth. which I think we can talk about. There's the assembly of the team and the draft compensation and the guys that they got, specifically that quarterback you're talking about. There's that aspect. There's a multitude of ways that you can compare what they've done versus what we've done, where it seems like we've taken a more long-term approach, but at the same time, we've been in win now mode. So kind of playing both sides of the fence. But going back to just, takeaways from the Super Bowl and just, watching that game, I think it's got to start with just the big time players making big time plays when it matters. Cooper Kupp force feeding him the ball, especially when OBJ went out. You talked about the ebbs and flows of the game and it being kind of, weird that way. It was like the Rams were the first quarter and the fourth quarter, and the Bengals were the second quarter and definitely the third quarter, right? And, the Bengals just couldn't, they got hit in the mouth in that fourth quarter. I really feel like, and people have talked about this, but the turning point seemed to be when Aaron Donald hit Joe Burrow out of bounds. I feel like that was a turning point. Because he just was sending the message with it, and then they got in his face, and it just kind of like you woke up the bear, and it just seemed like from there, Joe Burrow, Aaron Donald was just wrecking the game, and you compare it to, everybody wants to bring up the fourth down play where we didn't give the ball to Debo, right? Or the third down play, I should say, where we didn't give the ball to Debo, right? Like people bring that up ad nauseum, like we should have been more aggressive. And
Wait, which play? Which play are you talking about?
I'm talking about in the NFC championship game where we had the use check run, the fullback dive that we couldn't get, and then the play later with Elijah Mitchell, right? And so that sequence, people were upset that we didn't find a way to get the ball to Debo. It wasn't like it was just the last play in the game, but still, it's like a crucial moment, get the ball into your best player's hands, right? So people had a criticism even then. This isn't a retrospect type of thing. You fast forward to the Rams game, and they got a crucial fourth down that they're going for. No run game going the whole game. Just cannot run the ball. They give the ball to Cooper Kupp. He makes that play happen. In the end zone, what do? They go to Cooper Kupp. They go to Cooper Kupp damn near every play. And I think I think Sean McVay had a lot of mistakes, the timeout issues, just certain things. I feel like Sean McVay hasn't super, super impressed me in terms of just the X's and O's, but he has impressed me in terms of the management of the team and like his pulse, I think, for the team. I don't know if you saw the video of him talking about Aaron Donald before he made that big play, and him just, basically predicting that Aaron Donald was going to make something happen, big guess. But, it just seems like he has a good pulse on how to pull different strings with players and get the ball to your best players' hands when the game's on the line. And he was able to do that. They draw up the plays for the guys, and the guys executed. So I do give him credit on that standpoint. And I feel like that's something that Shanahan, Shanahan's growing as a coach. This is, he's still.
And you got to give him credit on this standpoint too. He improved their most important position, arguably quarterback position. But he did that. Like, he brought in all these other guys, but I just feel like, what's the knock on Shanahan? What's the knock? The biggest knock is the quarterbacks. It's just the play at quarterback, Hoyer, Beathard, Mullins, Jimmy G, and now Trey. Trey is yet to be seen, but it just seems like that's like Shanahan's kryptonite right now. It feels like everything else, like great, like everything else is. We got the best team, the deepest team. Like it seems like our, it seems like our whole team as a complete unit is probably the best team in the NFL. Like I'm not just talking about straight talent, like on the front end, but like even on the back end. Yeah. But it's like that quarterback position, and it's hard. I guess it's hard to. You like those top five guys, they're not just falling off trees. And even with the Rams, they kind of got they kind of got lucky. They kind of fell into that, and it was kind of like a I don't want to say destiny, but right place at the right time type deal. But yeah, man, quarterback.
Yeah, it's tough to say. I mean, definitely the quarterback play is that's where it starts and ends in the NFL. And we've had a different approach. We kind of zig when teams zag in terms of the way we play, but I think that transitions into talking about quarterback as we so often do. I wanted to bring up just this whole Jimmy G conversation in terms of there's the report that came out that Washington, I don't even want to say they would trade it just was in consideration and not inconceivable that they would trade a first round pick for Jimmy G, essentially was the report. And they have the 11th pick in the draft, which is extremely high. That's basically where we were picking last year to make the trade, right? So that's extremely high coveted pick. And you said it yourself, like the whole quarterback thing, we made all these moves to get Trey, and a lot of what we have done would indicate that there's a possibility that Coach Shanahan isn't 100% comfortable with Trey. You can also look at it and say that he is, and he just didn't want a rookie to start. He's old school. There's other aspects to it that, but there's signs that there's a possibility that we'll have to see. I mean, it remains to be seen. I'm not saying one way or the other, but there's signs that there's the potential that Shanahan doesn't feel too comfortable with Trey coming into this year when he feels like we're in a win now mode. And I transitioned that to talk about Jimmy because I tweeted out earlier today, I was trying to do a poll. Let me pull up the results of that poll and what that actually was. But I basically asked, what's the most likely scenario you think is going to happen? Jimmy get traded, Jimmy gets cut, or Jimmy comes back? And the reason why I was asking that, well, before I even go on to explaining why I was asking that, what is your answer to that? What do you think is most likely for Jimmy G in this offseason? Trade, cut, or return?
Trade.
So the reason why I asked the question, most people said that, it was overwhelmingly people were saying that they thought it would be a trade. The reason why I was asking is because I'm looking at it from the other team's perspective, the Washingtons of the world, the Pittsburgh Steelers of the world, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't know what else teams you want to throw in there, but all these teams that are potential suitors, there's maybe 4 of them at the most, I would say, right? Potential suitors for Jimmy G. And, I think, why would I trade for him? And the reason I say that, it's not like saying Jimmy G is a bad player. I'm not even getting into that. It's the market. We always talk about the market, right? When guys get paid, it's like, he's not necessarily that good, but that's what the market is. This is a similar situation with his trade value because, number one, he's got injury history, right? You got to take that in some way into consideration. Carson Wentz, that was factored in. You got to take that in some way into consideration that he has injury history. Number two, he has 1 year left on his deal. There's going to have to be some sort of restructure going on, right? So I think that's a big aspect. How long are you going to have this guy? What is the terms of this deal that he's coming in as? And number one, it's a lot of money. Number two, it's only for 1 year. So how much do you really want to give up for those prospects? And number three, who are you really competing against in terms of the bidding war? Like I feel like if I'm on a team, I'm probably going to call the 49ers bluff and say, look, you traded up for Trey Lance. You have him on your team. You want to come into a situation where Jimmy G's going back next year? That's going to be too awkward for you guys. I don't think there's that much, competition from other teams that, teams may be interested. Jimmy G's a winner. He can go to New Orleans and win now. He can go, all these teams win now, but to trade for him and give up assets and give up maybe a player or a draft picks and things like that, I'm calling your bluff. I'm going to wait for you guys to release him for cap savings, those sort of things. And then I could sign him at my own leisure, figure out the right price, the right terms. Like we can go from there, like without giving up any assets. And if I'm a team, that's probably a risk that I'm going to take for a guy like Jimmy G, as opposed to like, he's not a Deshaun Watson if everything clears up, Russell Wilson, who has those sort of pedigree.
No,
what's going on with that?
That Deshaun Watson thing, like, bro,
what's going on, bro?
He's more of a valuable asset than Deshaun Watson.
I feel like it depends on the team. It depends on what happens, but we'll see. But yeah, let's not even bring up Deshaun. Let's not even bring up Deshaun. Let's not even bring up Deshaun. Let's just talk about, Russell Wilson, if he's potentially out there.
He's not a free. I'm saying Russell Wilson, Seattle's not looking to shop him like that. Like, I mean,
we don't know the details. We don't know the details. We don't know.
I know. I guess my point is that Jimmy G is like for
most
really
definitely
on the market.
Go ahead. You saying he's really on the market?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's really on the market with Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. You don't even know, like, I feel like they, like Seattle and Green Bay, they not they're not gonna budge. Like you're gonna have to give up a lot to get those guys. Jimmy
Yeah.
G, like, yeah, you might have to trade a draft pick, but you're not gonna have to, like, Aaron Rodgers. They're
I
not
think
just
that's
gonna
another
let him go.
aspect. I think that's another aspect of it that you bring up. Like, yeah, we're gonna have to give up because again, I'm not talking about, just to be clear, like we have to set the tone of the conversation to understand what we're actually talking about. I'm not saying Jimmy G's not good. I'm not saying a team wouldn't want him. I'm talking about specifically trading for him and specifically what you're gonna trade, because it seems like we are going to be pretty adamant that it has to be a first round pick, at the very least a second round pick. I feel like that's the energy we're coming into these things. And whenever you're doing some sort of negotiation, you
Hey,
always
so
start high.
if we're doing that, then you're saying call our bluff. But if we're doing that, then that means that we about to stick with him. Then
What do you mean? Like have him come back?
yeah,
Yeah, I think that's a possibility. That's why I put the poll up.
I'm
I
saying
mean,
because it's like I don't think that they like. I just feel like
it's cap saving. It's a lot of money. I think as a fan, I would want that to be the scenario as opposed to the other way around where we have him coming back in this awkward situation with Trey, because I think you're a little bit short-sighted if you think it's a good idea for him to come back this year. I think like that's a little bit short-sighted in my opinion, unless they really don't think Trey is ready. Now let me finish. I feel like the thing with the scenario of us being adamant about a first or a second round pick is that I think a lot of teams are going to say, well, if it's not going to be a third or a fourth or a fifth round pick, we don't want to do it. And Shanahan's going to say, look, I just get the sense from the Jalen Hurd decision, you can go through so many different aspects where it seems like we don't fully grasp the whole sunk cost thing. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like if we're kind of at a position, we're going to kind of go there to our grave. That just seems the energy I get from Shanahan seems to be the energy I'm getting from him. Right. So I get the sense that he's pretty adamant. Not a first round, not a second round pick. It's going to look bad. It's kind of make me feel like last season was a little bit of I'm not going to say a waste. We went to the NFC Championship game and he earned the respect and got wins and piled them up. And, there's plenty of things that came out of the season. But, I feel like Shanahan's going to say, no, if I'm not going to get a first or a second round pick, like, no, I'm not going to trade you. And if that's the case, I can definitely see him being like, well, I'm not going to just cut him and let him go for nothing. So I'm going to bring him back. And I feel like that's a more likely scenario than people are giving credit right now.
I definitely think the whole bring him back thing, I mean, I know he could be bluffing or whatever, but just looking at the press conference from, the day after.
Yeah, Jimmy's
over
it.
They weren't
over
just,
it, though. Jimmy's over it. Jimmy's over it.
Yeah, Jimmy is over it, but I mean, I don't know. I feel like Jimmy is emotional. You feel me? He's emotional about it. But I just feel like if, I mean, yeah, that's the part where it seems like Jimmy is over it, but it just seems like Shanahan and them, especially Shanahan. Shanahan seems like he's not really
into Trey.
I don't know if it's like either you're really smart or you're really dumb, because it's like, I just feel like Shanahan is like disregards Jimmy's feelings, or that's what it seems like. Like he just
absolutely. Whether it's from the injury to which is something I brought up on Twitter again, is like, not to cut you off and steal your wisdom, but just like looking at the injury situation after that Tennessee Titans game, and even with the whole shoulder situation, Shanahan was so dismissive of his injuries. Like, yeah, it's nothing. And I know in the comments people were saying on our Twitter at 49x365, people were saying like, yeah, well, they're trying to increase his trade value. When I hear things like that, I'm like, man, like, do you really think that has an effect on the trade value? Like what Shanahan says?
Bro, or no, but look, honestly though, I think it's more so I think it's a possibility. Like he's just more so not trying to be hella candid about injuries. I feel like Shanahan don't want you to really at least especially about an injury, that's a vulnerability.
Yeah, but I don't.
At least is the better.
That's one way to look at it.
That's competing.
That's one way to look at it, but we know. I mean, again, look, all these guys are competitive. They have they want to get any edge they can. So if that's what you think, that's what you like. I get that side. I just feel like you already know there's an injury. You can talk about the severity of it. That's what we're talking about. But you already know there's an injury. To me, it's like having it like, well, we don't know if he's going to practice this week, if we're splitting reps. That leaves it more open on the competition scale, where it's like, yeah, we're giving Trey reps. Like he might come in. We don't know. Like to me, that's a more competitive advantage. Going back to what you were trying to do earlier in the season, and just at least put the threat of Trey being in there into defenses' minds and having them game plan about certain things. Like to me, it would behoove you to go that route than to say like, oh, like because Jimmy's saying it anyways. Jimmy's already basically saying, it's good. Like,
Yeah, I mean, he's
Jimmy's
not
already
saying it
saying,
though. He's just,
but I'm saying Jimmy's,
he's
but I'm
just
saying,
vibe.
but I'm
The
saying
vibe,
Jimmy,
the
but I'm
vibe
saying,
is like, yeah, this shit hurt, but I'm not gonna say it hurt.
but I'm saying he's already saying it. Like, and if people think that has a implication in terms of like where Jimmy's trade value is, like, oh, if Shanahan was being less coy, like it would be a first rounder, but now it's like, like that has no
No,
effect on
I don't think
anything,
it's
bro.
that. I think it's the competition.
Well, people have said
aspect
that.
of
People
it.
say that a lot. They talk about the trade value, and he's trying to do. And I'm like, that has no bearing on this. And to me, it's just back to your point about smart or dumb. It's like you're not on the same page. Whatever the message is, like it just doesn't seem like connected. I don't feel like Shanahan and Jimmy, to me, were 100% on the same page. It seems like that's an interesting relationship, man. A weird relationship.
No, it does.
To say the
I mean,
very
it
least.
definitely doesn't. I mean, we talked about it before, but yeah, like I was saying, like I just, it's like, yeah, the way Shanahan said it at the end of the press conference, it was real life. Like, no, we still gotta look and see, and see we got a really good rookie, we got a really good veteran, and I know he might be, he might, I don't know, is he in his mind like, no, I'm for sure trading him. I'm just trying to make it seem like we want to value him and trying to make somebody, want to trade us and, drive up the value. But like on that end, but I don't know. It just seems like Shanahan to me doesn't seem like, when he's not being honest, I feel like you could kind of see. And actually, I don't know if he was being honest though, but I don't know. I just don't know. Like when he said that, he wasn't hella like, yeah, we about to move on. We about to find them suitors. He was like, we got to look at it. We got to look at it. We got to, like, he has to go sit back and look at the season and look at what was best. And this is what I will say though, and I mean, I know we got a whole off season, and I know that the whole off season is, going to be full of, just topics. But I just feel like, man, we got to trust Shanahan. Like, I just feel like we just got to trust him on this.
Word,
It's go ahead.
We'll get to that trust, but what do you think is going to happen? And specifically, you said trade. How do you think it's going to be? What do you think the compensation is going to be?
I
What do
don't
you
know
think
when
the
they're
team is
going
going
to
to
do
be?
it. I don't know, like when the
No, just like predictions, just in terms of how do you think it's going to go? Like, what team do you think it's possibly going to be? What do you think the compensation is
bro,
going
I
to
don't
be?
know.
Like,
I mean, you hear Washington, you hear Philly,
but I feel
you
like
heard
that's a
about the
part of it, though.
Steelers.
But I feel like that's part of it, though, JB, because it's like you're basically saying, like, yeah, I think he's going to get traded, but you don't even know what team you think it's going to possibly be to, like, what makes sense just from your opinion and from your vantage point of, like, what would make sense. You don't have any thoughts on,
like I said, I don't really, like, I mean, the teams that need quarterbacks. So it's a lot of teams that need quarterbacks. Like, I just feel like, yeah, if you need a quarterback, it's like I haven't really dived deep into which quarterback, like, okay, Jalen Hurts or Jimmy G, like, but the Saints need a quarterback. Washington needs a quarterback. It's just teams that need quarterbacks. So
yeah, I would say
Pittsburgh needs a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I would say my estimate is that Jimmy G gets traded for a no better than a third round pick to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I would say like a third or maybe a fourth round and fifth round or something like that, where the messaging I think is going to be there's other offers out there, but we want to do right by Jimmy for all that he's done for us and send him to a winning organization, a winning team in the AFC, and give him a chance at being on a winning organization. I think that's going to be the messaging of what happens. I think it's going to probably be a little bit longer than what people think. We never know; these things can move fast. But my understanding is Jimmy G is going to have surgery on that thumb. I don't know how that's going to be a factor. He's going to have to talk to all these teams. They're going to have to probably come to terms on like some sort of contract extension for whatever team that he does go to. And so I feel like there's a lot of things at play where it may take a little bit longer than what we would maybe originally anticipate. But I would say the Pittsburgh Steelers like a third or fourth round pick, with the messaging being we wanted to send them to a good organization. But in reality, that's probably the best option that they could have got. You mentioned Philadelphia. I don't see them doing that. Even with the Steelers, I still see them.
I don't know why. Why was everybody talking about Philly today?
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea. I didn't see anything about Philly. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm just saying, I've seen hella pictures of Jimmy G on Twitter in a Philadelphia, like, Photoshop, like in a Philly uniform.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen anything about that. I'll look it up. But yeah, from my vantage point, I think that's probably more likely than not. But we'll see. It remains to be seen. The NFL's crazy, and even with that, I feel like the Pittsburgh Steelers will probably still get the quarterback out of Liberty if he's available, or maybe even the quarterback out of Pitt. Go with the Pitt connection. But I definitely think Jimmy G is a really good bridge quarterback, similar to what we did with Trey Lance this year. I think that could be the same thing for him coming up next year. The real wild card in this is that I know you're not like big into the draft and everything like that, but from what everybody says and from what I've even seen, like the prospects of quarterback of last year's draft seem to be better than the prospects in this year's quarterback class of this draft. Those things that doesn't mean anything. Guys from this class,
Exactly, bro. They got Tom Brady.
It doesn't mean it. I'm just saying in terms of like the prospects, which does matter because perception becomes reality. And this is talking about potential and all those sort of things, right?
Yeah.
This isn't about like
if that's the narrative, then that's probably what a lot of these organizations are thinking too.
But the narrative also is that the following year's class is a lot better though. So it's like these teams
who they got, like Spencer Rattler and shit.
Spencer Rattler.
I'm just saying. I know. But he's still talented. But.
Yeah, but that's not the guy that you would probably bring up. There's CJ Stroud from Ohio State. That's not the top guy. The top guy is really out of Alabama, California product. I guess that school's in LA. But Bryce Young, he's going to be the big name. Also, the quarterback who was at Oklahoma.
You don't think Spencer Rattler going first round?
I'm not necessarily saying that. He has a seat. I don't even know. I think he's going to Arizona, or I don't know where he transferred to, but he's definitely not at Oklahoma anymore. I mean, he lost his job. I think he went to Arizona or Arizona State. I'm not sure, but he has to build himself back up. I'm not sure if he's going to even come out at the end of this year. But Caleb Williams, we had a comment there. Shout out to Cook Smoke Sports. Caleb Williams, who transferred to USC from Oklahoma, along with Lincoln Riley. I'm going to now be a Trojans fan, so fight on. There's a lot of those quarterbacks in this next upcoming draft that I think teams like the Steelers, the Tampa Bay Bucks, right? All these teams, right? Even the Minnesota Vikings, they're having a new coach. Like they're definitely going to keep Kirk this year. He's a good quarterback. Why wouldn't you? But I think like they're going to probably have an eye on the following year's draft. A lot of these teams are going to have that vantage point. So I think that is a benefit to Jimmy G because there's probably going to be a stopgap opportunity, right? But then on another side of that, if you have an owner like in Miami, they may be incentivizing coaches to lose and let's just tank it and not risk this. We want our Joe Burrow, we want our Caleb Williams, our Bryce Young. Let's not even play around and let's get these L's. You know what I'm saying? So if that's the case, then Jimmy G, is he going to really help you get those L's? On the 49ers Twitter, I'm sure there's going to be a divisive response for that, depending on what the team is around him. So anyways, that's my thoughts on what's going to happen in terms of like trade compensation and all those sort of things. But what I wanted to talk about, because one of the scenarios we brought up is Jimmy G returning to the team. And I wanted to talk about Trey Lance. We had videos back and forth this week when the whole, Joe Montana, we wanted to get on the podcast, but I wasn't able to do it at the specific time. But, we had a few videos back and forth as we often do at 49X365, where we were talking about just the whole Joe Montana comments on Trey Lance and is the guy ready and all those sort of things. So I want to get into that like a little bit, talk about that. But first, let's get through some of these comments that we had. Somebody said they look more forward to the halftime show than to the actual game. What you think about the halftime show, man? What was your thoughts on it, man?
Hey, I'm gonna be honest. I liked it, but I just feel like, bro, it was overrated. Like people was making it seem
overrated.
Like, this is
the best ever.
Thing ever. I'm like, it was cool, but like y'all, like that wasn't just hella raw to me. I mean, it was cool. Like Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg.
It needed to be infused. Like, it needed to be infused with some youth. I feel like it was very much like a throwback performance. I know Kendrick did his thing, but it just. It just left something there, but it was epic, legendary. It's in LA. You got the LA folks mixed with 50 Cent when you couldn't have the game. Like it was dope that they had 50, but I would like to see the game come there too. You got to bring the red side too. Come on now.
Bro, the game and 50 don't get along.
I know, but whatever. It would have been dope to see game there. But yeah, like how legendary, and this is like more so me because I don't think on the wide scale appeal people would have the same sentiment. But if they did like. Dreams. Like if you did Dreams and had Kanye there, like that would be raw, bro. That would have been raw.
They did what?
Dreams. I brought you all my dreams. That's on the game. Come on now, you don't know
who sing that?
The game. Oh my god.
Oh, Dream. You talking about the game?
Left I had a dream. What do you mean? Yeah.
Okay.
I'm like, damn, bro, you know that song? That would have been legendary.
I know that song.
Hate it or love it.
That song is hella forgettable.
I mean. it would have been legendary. But anyways,
No, you know what I think. Honestly, the part that
she had
like I
Trump,
was like she got way better songs than the songs that she did. Mary J. Blige. I'm like, I love R&B, especially 90s R&B, and she
Yeah.
got some real songs, and I'm like, the hateration in this dancery.
But that was like, I don't know if I just remember that song was featured with like, I'm sure there's no like corporate influence in their performance as much, but like I know that song was definitely a Pepsi song for a long period of time. Like I remember Pepsi had that song on their
but it was
commercials.
just
And
like,
this was like
bro,
a Pepsi like halftime show and stuff. So I just thought she was gonna play that song that had all those made up words that are not in the dictionary, the hateration, holleration. But yeah, I mean, you right on that point. There definitely were some other songs. She could have brought out meth. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. There could have been so many different ways to go.
Kendrick, honestly, I like Kendrick's part though. Kendrick came out.
Yeah, that was dope how he
Kendrick,
came out.
bro. He like, cause like music wise, I'll be thinking like Kendrick. I'll be like, bro, his music to me is like,
ooh, don't say it. Don't
like,
say
put him as best rapper alive, and it's like
he's my favorite. He's probably my favorite rapper ever, Kendrick.
yeah, but it's just like
He's
I just feel like his music sometimes is like a little. It's just the vibes is a little too.
Yeah, you be hating, man.
Can't really vibe to it.
We gotta. I've been trying to put you on the Russell for the longest, man. So I'm gonna make that happen.
I gotta watch the thing you sent me today.
Yeah, I damn near have to might send you a video every day because he basically makes a video every day. But anyways, man, so many different artists. It would have been crazy if Niners were in it. We would have had Stunner Man come up there. You know what I'm saying? Big stepping. Nah, show up, make an appearance at the halftime.
I mean,
show.
look, the Dr. Dre, and then they should have had like a like, don't tease me with the I ain't mad at you with the Tupac. Don't.
I know that was my. I was like, what they about to do? That was the rawest part to me. I'm like, what they about to do right now? And then they instantly just went to the next episode. I'm like, bro,
yeah,
like,
bro, the next episode, like, but I
mean,
guess,
it was legendary. The next episode is legendary. Like, you got to do that, but it's like
it's legendary, bro. But it's just like it's just
I ain't mad. I'm thinking the holograms
with the Super Bowl. Hey, with the Super Bowl though, I guess where he did right with is like this thing got to appeal. It can't just This thing got to appeal to everybody. It got to appeal to, and everybody knows those songs. So it's like, my mom was like, "Oh, I like it." My step pops was like, "That was a good halftime show." And they're, it's like they in the older generation, and a lot of it. I was at karate today, and one of the parents, she was like, "Oh yeah," like she was like, she from like another country. She's like, the halftime show is good. She's like, I don't. And she was like, just, so I guess that's where they,
it's legends. I mean, and it's LA. I get it. It's LA. You know what I'm saying? LA at SoFi, the team's in there. You got all the LA artists. It's just a celebration for LA. And in that sense, it was legendary. In that sense, it was beautiful. I mean, these are Dr. Dre and everything that he did. Like, it was legendary. But I agree with you in terms of we're overlooking a lot of, I'm not saying overlooking. It's definitely up there. I think it was definitely up there just in terms of the moment and everything. But, the 50 Cent,
bro, Travis Scott, like they making it seem like it's the first rap. I'm like, Travis Scott just did it. Like Travis Scott did it like
years ago? He did it already. Who's the halftime performance for when we were in the Super Bowl 2019?
I don't know. I don't remember that. I think it might have been Travis.
I feel like that was a Travis Scott. Yeah, I feel like that was a Travis Scott one.
Yeah, that was Travis Scott. Yep, because I definitely wasn't paying attention to it.
Well, in any case, we going on about this Super Bowl halftime performance, but the one silver lining for me was the LA Rams owner. He's the owner of my favorite soccer team, Arsenal. Hopefully he uses this as a template to invest in the soccer team and not really do too much with LA. But I mean, I feel like this whole season has been a success for them. Everything that they've done, they've set out to do, it worked. Getting all the players that they got, all that. We'll see if OBJ is going to come back. I don't know. It looked like he tore his ACL, but he was walking around after those.
They said he tore his ACL.
For sure, like confirmed, like definitely.
They tweeted it out. I think one of them, Schefter, tweeted out or rap report that
guaranteed, like he absolutely tore it.
He tore his ACL.
Damn, that sucks, man. Well, hey, Cam Akers came back with a torn Achilles in the same season, so we've gone in ACLs.
Hey, weird. Hey, we went all the, but hey, you was getting on the Jimmy and Trey. I mean the Trey thing. What was?
Yeah, getting on a tangent. Well, let's get through these comments first. Would you rather Jimmy G be traded to Washington for a high pick or for one player in a 4th or 5th round pick? I mean, clearly it depends on who the player is, right? You're talking about Washington. I saw Jamal from Jasper and Jamal show. He tweeted out today like I would prefer to get like a 4th or a 5th round pick paired with what's that corner they have? Name is slipping me right now. You got that brother used to play for Chicago. Forgetting his name, but one of y'all can say me in the comment section if you
For
know
who?
who I'm
For
talking about.
Washington?
Yeah. But in any case, he was talking about if we were able to trade for him, and he was playing with Fangio in Chicago. For Fuller.
Oh, Kyle Fuller.
Yeah, Kyle Fuller. Yeah. So you're saying Kyle Fuller? I'm like, man, why would Washington do that? I just don't feel like why would they do that? But if they want to, then I would definitely. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, no, they're not gonna trade one of the. I mean, but I don't know how his year was this year. I feel like I
He
don't
had a
know how
good
his year
year.
was, but
He had a good year. But in any case, I don't think this year raised Jimmy G stock or leverage for us. I feel you take what best you can get out of anyone else offers. Does he still not have a trade clause? Yeah, Jimmy G, the no trade clause was in effect for this past year, but it's not in effect anymore. I don't know if if you can, take off the no trade clause right now at this moment, but when the offseason really gets started and whatnot, he's not going to have a no trade clause anymore. So that's out the window. But they did say that they are going to try to do right by him. We'll see what that really means. Again, I feel like most likely scenario is we end up trading like a fifth or a sixth or something like that, and a fourth, and end up being like, you know what, we wanted to do right by him, and this was we got better offers, but you know what, we wanted to send him to a winning culture in Pittsburgh. So that's what I'm thinking is going to happen. Where do I think he wants to go? I think he wants to go to Pittsburgh just because I feel like, with being a Chicago guy, he can go do the whole mid, North energy, that type of vibe. It's a real football city that has history similar. He's been with the Patriots, the Niners. You got to follow that up with another iconic franchise. And of this round of teams that are available and potentially interested, I mean, Pittsburgh is that team. Like, and that there's a winning culture. They all they want to do is win. What's his name? Running back from the Bay. What's his name? Najee Harris was talking about already on a podcast or on an interview where he, mentioned Deshaun Watson, but he also mentioned like Jimmy G in terms of like potential quarterbacks that, he would potentially want to see come to his team.
Ryan Shazier said something about him too recently.
I didn't see that. What did he say?
Yeah, he said something too about Jimmy. Talking about basically the same type of comment.
I think
a guy like Jimmy G.
I think the Steelers are the best fit too, because again, the winning aspect, but like in terms of the team makeup, I know they have explosive weapons in terms of Deontay Johnson and, the guys that they always have receivers. The Steelers are always going to have receivers and weapons and stuff. But, look how Ben played last year. I think New Orleans
got
is
receivers,
team.
But they don't got AB type receivers no more.
Yeah, they don't have that, but they still have receivers. They have really good receivers. And when you look exactly him too. But you look at a team like the Steelers, also a team like the Saints, which like I don't see how that in terms of their capital, I just don't see them trading for him. But Jimmy G makes sense going there, I think, in terms of, I look at Drew Brees and I look at Ben Roethlisberger. They were shells of themselves in their final years. I know Drew Brees was 2 years removed, but they were shells of themselves in the final years. And you saw how, inept their passing game was to a certain extent, even with the weapons and things that they had. So I feel like Jimmy G can come in there and definitely be an improvement for sure. And, just that winning culture, that winning energy, and both teams will still be set up to get a quarterback, next year's draft.
Out, though, bro. One thing is like, all right, like I feel it. Like I'm just kind of looking at a different perspective in terms of like both them teams, in terms of like, this dude coming from Shanahan, and both them teams, like they don't really got offensive coordinator. Peyton's not in New Orleans no more. So Dennis Allen, he more a defensive guy, right?
Yeah, he's definitely a defensive guy. He was defensive coordinator for them, former head coach of the Oakland Raiders.
Right. And then and then Tomlin and them, like, I don't know who their OC is like that, but it's that aspect. You just get to everybody's. I don't say, the McVay Stafford. Like,
yeah, I mean, I hear it. I hear it, but there's coaches. I'm sure they got guys who can figure it out. I mean, I don't know. I hear your point for sure, but I don't know how big of a deal that is. I'm very, very interested to see how Jimmy G plays without Shanahan, because
for a quarterback like Jimmy G, I think he needs all that in his favor.
No, I don't agree though. I mean, I don't necessarily agree. In the sense of like, I know what Jimmy G has become, but I don't know if I want to see an unleashed Jimmy G. That's what I want to see as a fan, like just interested in just watching a different team play. I would love to see Jimmy G like just let it loose. I know we were anticipating that like, oh, he can't throw on the sideline, he can't throw downfield, he can't do this, can't do that. His injury from the ACL, maybe that's what changed him so much. I don't know, but I'm interested to see how he actually looks on a different team with weapons and things like that. Like if Jimmy G was to go to Tampa with Bruce Arians, like which he's not a downfield thrower, I know it's the horrible fit, all those sort of things. I just would be interested to see how that would look like. Even with Pittsburgh, same thing. Like, yeah, it's not a Shanahan coaching tree situation, but I want to see how it would look like. So I think he might surprise some people, man. So I don't know. I'd be interested to see like how Jimmy G's going to look, man. But we also talked about the scenario of Jimmy G potentially coming back and having another year of Trey on the bench. Now I brought up the whole Joe Montana, the videos we had back and forth. We all 49ers Twitter, we have our thoughts. Summarize kind of where you're at with it and what your thoughts are in terms of, you know, my question is like, what are your thoughts about how Trey Lance has been treated so far his first year in this offseason? Like, do you feel like, and really when I ask that question, it's like, what do you feel about that? Like, how do you feel about how he's been treated?
This is how I feel about it, bro. I feel like the training wheels are about to come off in the media and in everything. Like this year, he was kind of floating under the radar, national media. But now, you know, I just feel like we're gonna cut Jimmy G. I mean, not cut. I think Jimmy G's not gonna be on the team next year. That's what it feels like. And now you got Ryan Clark today got on Trey Lance basically. Like, you know, you heard that?
No, I didn't hear that one.
Oh man, you've been. I ain't been watching nothing, but I just seen stuff on. It's like a viral tweet. Ryan Clark basically said, in a nutshell, like basically said Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, like yeah, they had their ups and downs, but their teams felt confident that you know their teams felt like they could win with him. And then he said something like that was kind of it was like he was like the Niners just played in the NFC Championship 1 week ago. So now you telling me now that he's gonna be ready 1 week later? Like if he wasn't ready 1 week ago, and it was just kind of like, bro, like stop. But the point is this though, bro. The point is this, that it's getting loud. Like you're going to start hear people speak up, and like I said, there's gonna be a lot of takes, a lot of narratives on him, a lot of pressure. The pressure is gonna mount up. It's already there. It's gonna mount up, and there's gonna be a lot of doubt because what he did, like in terms of like you just said when you talked about it earlier. It like we don't know for sure, but did Shanahan feel like he was ready this year? Like was we know Jimmy is not a world beater, and like yes, we got to the NFC Championship. I'm not gonna make it seem like Jimmy just sucks or is like Nick Mullins, but we know he's not like a top 5-10 quarterback.
Damn,
you know he's not
Nick
top
Mullins like that.
Huh?
I said, damn, you gotta do Nick Mullins like that. Go ahead.
I mean, but you know what I'm saying though. But I just feel like the people are going to speak up about, you know, Trey, and this is, like I said, the training wheels are going to be off, and it's going to be a lot of pressure, and it's going to be, you know, how is he going to be built to, you know, everybody say they block out the noise, but I don't think you could block this out. You're going to hear about this. You can't block this out. You're going to hear about all this stuff. So, you know, how is he going to be able to respond to hearing all these takes? And it's going to be negative. Like Joe Montana and Ryan Clark, at the end of the day, these aren't just like, you know, these aren't just guys talking in the media who never played football. And like, you know, the point is like, they like OGs, like they people that, you know,
I mean, I suppose the Ryan Clark comments you just brought up though is like, yeah, but the Ryan Clark comment. No, I mean,
if Ryan Clark is still in the NFL, like he's still in NFL circles.
I'm not knocking Ryan Clark. I'm saying that, you know, a lot like this. I didn't look at the tweets originally, so I can't fully comment on it. But look, man, it's Twitter. A lot of times, guys are saying
it was on
things
NFL Live.
Okay,
it was like a video.
Okay, well, I just feel like when we're in a 24/7, you know, media cycle with the sports stuff, like these guys, like when you're on TV and things like that, I take Joe Montana's comments, to your point, a lot more than I would take, you know, clearly like Ryan Clark.
I mean, No, I feel
Yeah.
you. Like I feel you, but the point is that still like I feel you.
Yeah,
in terms of,
noise. All
like,
right, so yeah, noise. You feel like there's noise. The trailing wheels are off. How he's gonna respond. I love it, man. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I love it. I just feel like all of this noise and this chatter around Trey, and should we bring Jimmy back, and like, and just I just feel like this whole year, when you are picked number 3 overall, to Ryan Clark's point, usually in a situation like Trevor Lawrence, like who is the other quarterback on the Jacksonville Jaguars?
exactly. I mean, no, the
Who-
point.
no,
that
I'm just-
point was kind of
No,
like,
but,
bro, like,
but let me make my point. My point is that who was the other quarterback on the Jacksonville Jaguars? Okay, who's the other quarterback on the New York Jets? When we found out it was Mike White, and he was actually playing pretty well when he came in instead of Zach Wilson. It looked
One
like
game.
Yeah, I know, one game, but it was Mike White. Is he the dude? Mac Jones, they gave him the keys. They made that happen. But in these other scenarios, it's like, who are the guys that they're
Justin
going against?
Fields, like, yeah,
Justin
none
Fields?
of them.
I mean, they had
None of
Andy
them
Dalton, and
made a fall.
they had Andy Dalton. It was a similar situation, but Andy Dalton is not Jimmy G. Not only in terms of the player, you can make arguments there, but Jimmy G had taken this team to a Super Bowl. Like, Andy Dalton had no equity with the team. It's not like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a completely different scenario than sitting on the bench for Jimmy G.
No,
in my opinion.
like, yeah.
And
I
no,
feel
but
like
I'm
that
making.
point was that shit. Like, yeah, when you start comparing it to other
No,
people.
but
at the end of the day, though, this is the only thing I'm saying, though, is that Ryan Clark is still an NFL guy.
No, I get that. I'm not even talking about Ryan. I'm not even talking. I'm not even.
He won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And
I'm not even talking about Ryan Clark, bro. I'm talking about Trey Lance. I'm making a point about Trey
I
Lance.
know, and this is what I'm saying with Ryan Clark regarding Trey Lance. Like these are like in Trey Lance. If I'm Trey Lance, like it's like if you're Trey Lance, he's a 21-year-old kid, and not kid, 21-year-old young man, and these are older people, like just like I said, Joe Montana, and let's just say Ryan Clark. So like Ryan Clark basically said he don't know. He was like when he threw the ball, it was like, is he accurate? Can he throw? Like and like is Shanahan was like, and they seen him whatever he's talking about practice, and they seen him at practice every day. But my point is, these guys are looking at you, and he's young, so it's like, not even just young, but a lot of people is like, if somebody says something from a certain position, even if you like, even if you like, man, you're not with me every day, but it could affect you. And if it's somebody who's not just a straight like media Stephen A. Skip Bayless type guy, but somebody, like I said, these are two guys who are like respected in the football community, and they're talking about you as and so how are you going to respond to this, like this type of guys in your fraternity, though, bro? This is your fraternity of football, NFL, and like I said, these guys won Super Bowls, and they kind of questioning you. They're kind of unsure on you. They're kind of questioning you, and like I feel like that's just gonna keep going up, is my point. And so how do you respond to all that?
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, definitely. There's question. Yeah, people are saying things. The noise is getting louder, like you said. The training wheels are off. I think those are all good points. What I was saying is, like, all those sort of things. Like, you look at like the number 3 pick in the draft. If you're usually the number 3 pick in the draft, you're going to a team like the Jets or to the Jags and those sort of scenarios where, on one hand, it might ruin you. You might not make it. You're going to get sacked all the time. Probably not a good team. That's why you're drafting so high. Or, you can be a Joe Burrow and elevate and, be the reason for the success and all these sort of things. But usually when you're drafted that high, you're going to one of those teams where it's like the expectations for success aren't really that high, but people just want to see like development over time and just be able to be assured that you're that guy. Trey Lance gets drafted number 3, but he's drafted to a team that has Super Bowl aspirations, just went to the Super Bowl the previous year, not the previous year, but the previous 2 years, just went to the Super Bowl. And, they're coming back with a team that's, like you mentioned earlier at the beginning of this podcast, one of the most talented teams, if not the most talented teams aside from quarterback in the NFL. So, and for being a prospect that didn't really have a lot of throwing reps and those sort of things, like the writing's kind of on the wall where it's like, is this guy going to start? I would have preferred to go that route, but or is he not? And you heard things in training camp. There's a lot of positive things, like just how you're talking about Ryan Clark and all the noise. Like there was a lot of, on the other side, a lot of positive things in training camp. And then it just seemed like that kind of died down. And then, I don't know if there's other factors at play with, guys on the team saying, no, like we're going to divide the locker room. That's all valid, because in managing a team and getting the pulse of a team, like you got to do right by the team. It's all about the team. And it's like, we got to the NFC Championship game. So to your point about trusting Shanahan, what we did, even though if you can disagree, it worked. So you got to at least trust that what he did worked in the end, So looking at that scenario though, where it's like you are on the bench and like but I feel like it's the best scenario in terms of, even if you're a guy like me who wanted to see Trey start, you can't deny that if he is going to be on the bench, the best thing possible is for that team to go to at least the playoffs. And not only did we go to the playoffs, we won games. So he has that experience under his belt, but he also was able to get in games that were actually needed, like crucial games. Like the first game he started against, one of the best teams in the NFL at the time, right? And the second game that he started we were right in the thick of it. It was a playoff game. It was essentially a playoff game. Like when you look at how the season played off, it was a playoff game. And I just feel like it's the best of both worlds for him to have that experience of being on the bench and coached and all those sort of things, but also being in the game. Like I feel like it really bodes well for him. And what I'm excited about is, and what excites me the most about, what I'm super excited about, I gotta say super, for Trey Lance, is that there's two things, right? One is that I think of Daniel Jeremiah. I think of Daniel Jeremiah and all of the different people in the pre-draft process who were saying so many glowing things about Trey Lance and who he is. Like, and what you can see on the film and like, just interviews and things like that yourself, he just seems like, compared to Kyler Murray right now and what's going on there, like it's just a weird situation. I don't really know what that's about. We kind of touched on it the last podcast, but Kyler Murray just has that baseball swag. He has that like, aloof swag, like weird body language swag, right? And Trey has the intangible things. There's so many great intangible things about Jimmy. Trey, in a different way, has a lot of intangible things that, just from what I've seen, it looks like he is a strong-minded, I feel like we talk about these athletes, whether it's Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Patrick Mahomes, et cetera, who have these, their fathers who play professionally. I know his father wasn't just, a long NFL veteran or whatnot, but he had experience, as an athlete, as a professional athlete. And I feel like when you have those guys, it just seems like sometimes the professionalism is kind of like, it's different with them. Like they seem very well prepared to deal with the media or to deal with, just body language and how you carry yourself, all those sort of things, right? And I'm excited about those aspects of Trey Lance, because it's like, even if you're on the fence with how he's going to be as a prospect, is he going to be great? Is he going to be good? Is he going to fall? Is he going to, all these pressures coming to him? The one thing that like you don't really know is like the guy's character. And that's like in this new draft prospect and these new quarterbacks, it's like, who are these guys? Do these guys have character like Trey? I don't know. It remains to be seen, but that's one thing that gets me excited. And the other thing that gets me excited about
character,
Trey,
no, I feel it, but like,
well, the other thing that gets me
character like,
I'm telling you what gets me excited. It doesn't mean he's going to be successful. It doesn't mean it's all going to work out. It doesn't mean that he's going to be that guy who we want him to be that's going to get us to our 6th championship and maybe even more. I'm just expressing on a glass half full energy, on an optimistic energy of the way I look at the team and the way that I choose to look about the team, because I think that's key in this whole process. We don't know what he's going to be. There's things that you can look at and be like, oh, these are red flags. There's things you can look at and be like, oh, these are great signs. There's both with Trey. He's such a all over the place prospect, and even what we've seen from his first year. But I'm choosing to be on the positive side because it's more exciting for me that way. And that's just what I naturally am. But it's like, it's more exciting for me to get into these games and to follow this team of like the mindset of like, we had a comment here like, if I'm Trey, I'm pissed and I'm taking all these guys. That's how I'm looking at it. I don't know if that's how he's taking it. I don't know if it's going to affect him. But that's how I'm taking it. Like, yeah, man, all these guys are saying stuff and he's coming ready and he just wants to like, I can convince myself that's what I see when I'm looking at the Rich Eisen interview and I'm looking at these various interviews, and it's like, he doesn't really, how are you going to navigate these questions about Jimmy? How are you going to navigate? You don't want to like throw a guy under the bus or like say something where you're trying to be too out there and just take the reins, but it's a slippery slope to play. It's a tight rope to walk on this fence, right? So I feel like the way that he does respond, like, I respect it, and I feel like it's that fire that I see. The other aspect I was going to say that excites me about Trey is when he came into the games this year, that the little time that he did have, and there were some scares in preseason. Again, you can put yourself the other way, be like, oh, with throwing motion, the pass to Kittle in the Seahawks game, like there's things you can point to, like, oh, like was he ready? But then there's other things you can look to where it's like he just looks like he's the part. That's what I saw watching Trey this year. Like he looks like he doesn't. It doesn't look like the game is just like like, oh, he's about to suck. Like he just can't. I think on the athleticism side, it's questionable, like how much of an athlete is going to translate. I think but I don't think Shanahan's wanting to make him a Lamar Jackson, type of quarterback. He wants to make him a quarterback who's playing quarterback, but can scramble out. We can call run play if we need to get a first down and be more dynamic and multiple with our offense. It's a threat. He's not Peyton Manning. You know what I'm saying? In terms of athleticism, he has the threat of doing it. It doesn't mean he has to be the most dynamic athlete. And to my point, I feel like Trey Lance showed this year that he is the part. That I don't think it's going to be too fast for him. He got good experience, and that's what excites me most. Like those two things: the character, his optimism, and also just the fact that I look at Zach Wilson, and just from what I saw, he made some amazing throws too. And he's in a different situation, different team. Again, back to what I said about usually third picks. It's a whole different scenario comparing apples and oranges with these other quarterbacks. But, I did feel like I feel more comfortable about Trey Lance than I do about Zach Wilson. And at the very least,
I'm saying when you say that, I feel like you're just hella biased. But
I am biased, and this is I am biased.
So I feel it though. Like I feel it. I guess.
But JB, but my point is though. My point is though. Like
I just feel like Trey, bro.
But you're not hearing me though. You're not hearing me. You're not hearing me. I'm saying like in terms of looking at it optimistically, because again, you could have had a Zach Wilson situation come in where he was Justin Herbert, and if that was the case, how would you feel then? I just feel like, to me, the way I look at it, I'm more comforted by the fact of like. I think he can. I still think after the end of this year that he could be the best quarterback in this draft class at the very least.
Because none of the quarterbacks in this draft class have like. There's no like, oh, that's Justin Herbert, they're not even Joe Burrow. Not even Joe Burrow rookie year was better than Mac Jones had a good rookie year. You feel me? But yeah, I mean the trade definitely all the other Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence. Zach Wilson, they definitely had a lot of valleys. But I guess I feel you, man. I feel you. But we on this sports shit, so I guess in my mind I'm just kind of like I don't know. Like I just don't know. Like a full season with Trey Lance. Like how is that gonna look? I have no idea how that's gonna look. And it's just like, I just don't know, bro. And it's like I said, the thing with Shanahan it's like I said, in Shanahan I trust. But I just feel like the only thing that Shanahan hasn't proven us faithful yet is that we could get one of these quarterbacks that could lead us to a Super Bowl victory. And you feel me? And Jimmy led us to a Super Bowl, but did he even lead us to a Super Bowl? And so it's just like, can Shanahan? You got all this other great stuff. You got all this other great stuff. Great coach team. Seem to get better throughout the season. Mentally tough, but that one position, Brian Hoyer. Like why? Like that? Just these guys that C.J. Beathard. Jimmy G. He's the guy. Then Trey is like to me. I feel you, but I'm gonna burst your bubble. Trey is a question mark to me.
That's fine.
Just a straight,
that's not
big question mark. So
that's what I mentioned earlier. I said you can go any direction. If you want to point to the things that you feel like red flags, you can really put yourself in your mind like he's not going to be good. If you want to point to the things that are positive, you can really put in your mind like, oh, I can see it, like where I'm confident that he's taking us there. He has a lot to show. He's such an interesting player and prospect from the small school experience to only having really 1 year and the whole COVID situation to the throwing motion, Chris Sims, the independent contractor of an arm, if you want to bring that up, to having Jimmy G play here. And yes, we had a competitive team, so that's the reason that we wanted to bring back, Alex Smith, Patrick Mahomes model. But you could also argue that like, oh, you didn't feel comfortable in the guy that you had, right? Even potentially bringing back Jimmy. There's plenty of things that you can go and look at it. Joe Montana's comments, talking about players on the team. Like there's plenty of things. Like I see the question mark, and I see like if for people like yourself who have questions on Trey and think that there's potentially, and even questions with Shanahan, like you're mentioning, because I think those are also what you're bringing up. It's not just Trey. It's is this the right pairing? And I think that's kind of what I was getting back to the question of how we feel like Trey Lance has been treated, so far by the regime, by the media, all those sort of things. Because I do feel like, you could argue that it just doesn't seem like Shanahan is putting the most confidence in him. Maybe again, trust Shanahan, like you said. I'm not mad at that at that method. I'd rather I'll get better sleep that way, So I hope that this is the right way that he's doing it. But you could argue that we should just give the reins to Trey and make it this whole Jimmy situation. That's another aspect of it, is like you just want to start off with a clean slate, I would think, coming into this season. But maybe coach doesn't think that way. So, anyways, I feel like there's a lot of different ways you can go about Trey.
I mean, he
what do y'all
might
think
though. I
about it?
mean, like if he brings him back, then that's when you really got to be like, damn, are you giving this guy enough confidence? Like, are you is he gonna take this the wrong way? But yeah, you gotta just trust that. I feel like you gotta trust that he's evaluating the situation and looking at it like what's the best for the team, and he's what's the best for Trey in terms of if like if I make you the guy, you're I think you're gonna get crushed this year or whatever. Like if we bring Jimmy back, and if he was like, that has to be the thought process, like or but I don't think we're gonna bring Jimmy back though, bro. I don't know. I just feel like Shanahan said he really Shanahan and Lynch to me they have expressed that they F with Trey. They said that, I've heard this. I know maybe not action wise, but
Yeah, actions.
I mean, they said that,
actions.
that he's been what they thought and more, throughout this year.
I think I see Shanahan next year try to relieve some of the pressure on Lance. The two will have each other's careers in their hands. What does that mean? What does that? How does that look like? How do we relieve that pressure? What exactly does that mean? How's that gonna, come into shape and come into form? That's what we want to do. I would love to see an offensive draft. I mean, we got to do what's best for the team. It's all about the team. But I definitely would love to see us do whatever we can to give Trey the best situation around him, the best weapons, which you always want to do, right? Even if that was Jimmy or anybody, but definitely want to see him hit the ground running and give him all the resources he needs. It's a lot of free agents out there, a lot of free agents, even with our own team. It'll be interesting to see what we do with Lincoln Tomlinson. There was a report today that, we're basically looking to get it wrapped up before free agency starts if we can. So we'll see what that means. I know they're probably like, we're either gonna get a deal done now or you go to free agency and it's off the table. So we'll see how that works itself out. The NFL's depleted of offensive line play. So, I would love to see a great offensive line for Trey and hopefully use his skill sets, and guys like Aaron Banks can step up. But I also want to get a wide receiver and also get another running back if Mostert's not coming back. So we got to still keep getting better because, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. That's what it is. And we just saw our NFC West division rival Rams win the Super Bowl for the sixth time, and the last time we've been to the playoffs, we've lost to the Super Bowl champ. And, it's definitely something that Trey Lance is supposed to be that guy. There's a lot of pressure. Like you said, Ryan Clarks of the world are giving them that pressure. The Joe Montanas, just different things being said here and there. And even some of the actions from the coach potentially giving him a lot of pressure. And it's a lot of expectations wearing that 49ers jersey and playing quarterback. But I'm excited for it. You can look at it however you want to do it. I'm not going to knock you for looking at it the way you do. I just encourage y'all to do whatever you can to get some sleep and sleep well at night and not be too crazy about it, because you definitely can look at it either way. You definitely can, be put any thoughts in your head and kind of go crazy the other way and be like, what are we going to do at quarterback? Like, should we trade him? Like, I'm looking at like what the Packers are doing with Jordan Love. I mean, clearly Aaron Rodgers is there, so it's a little bit different of a scenario, but it doesn't seem like they have confidence in Jordan Love, to say the least. So, we'll see what happens.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. This offseason, I haven't really watched I haven't really been watching the sports stuff. I've been like, it's like, all right,
it's been a week,
huh?
It's been a week.
I know, but hey, like especially when the Niners was in it, it was like the consumption of sports content was just so heavy, and now it's kind of like, okay, let's like, Twitter, just do a little refresh on Twitter, but I ain't even like, I don't even know what they really talking about, because it's just like, I don't know. I just feel like we'll see. Like we're in the off season. Like now it's like, all right, these dudes ain't even working out right now. They still ain't even They like it's so much stuff that's gonna change or whatever. So it's just like we'll see how things shake, man.
We'll see how things shake. And y'all tap in with us and let us know what your thoughts are in the comment section. Thoughts on Trey. How has he been treated this off season, this past season? Just what do you feel like his mentality is? How do you think he's going to bounce and react to everything? What are your thoughts on what we do in this free agency period and this draft period? What positions do we need to focus on? And guys that we're retaining, just let us know your thoughts. We love to tap in with y'all as always at 49x365. Make sure you give us a follow and tap in. Also, big shout out to Frontline Sports Media and those guys. Make sure y'all tap into Jasper and Jamal tomorrow at 6 p.m. But with that being said, my name is Bia Mechi. This is the 49365 Tonight Show. As always, I'm with JB.
We out. Hey, Faithful, stand up, baby.
Peace. Hold on, we got the wrong outros and intros going on and stuff. Hold on, let's get this right, man. We gotta get up on the right notes. This is the Tonight Show. Peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor to be on the Tonight Show.
This is the 4936 Podcast.